Okay.
Good. Billy, obviously when you guys made that comeback, it looked like the pace just completely increased. Is that the way you would need to play for 4 quarters, and is that sustainable?
I thought our defensive activity really picked up. I thought we got stops. I thought we were really active with our hands. We had a lot of deflections. I thought the early part of the game we, didn't shoot the ball well, but I thought our turnovers really hurt us again, certainly in that first half. I thought the turnovers with the fact that we didn't get back well enough in transition. And then, I thought we started off the third quarter really kind of the right way. We did some good things, but we couldn't get anything to go down. We missed, I think, 3 straight threes. They made 3 straight threes, so the lead kind of ballooned up pretty quickly. But I think it was a game for us where I thought there was, too many, self-induced, mistakes on our part that, at that point was hard to overcome. But I thought the effort, being down by whatever it was, 26 or 28, to fight our way back. But I do think the missed shots, the deflections and turnovers enabled us to play with pretty good pace. I mean, they shot an astronomically high percentage from both 3 in the field. So in that situation, you're taking the ball out of the net quite a bit, and it's hard to really generate pace. Most of the time, you're going to generate good pace and speed. When you're playing off some missed shots, and I thought we did a much better job attacking the paint and getting downhill in the third and the fourth.
Billy, with that second quarter, obviously it wasn't just the bench's fault. I mean, there were a lot of culprits that quarter, but at the same time, when you have so many guys coming in and out, I mean, you haven't had a cohesive bench where it's kind of that same group. Are you starting to see that there's guys that are unfamiliar with what the other guy's doing and a lack of communication, or what are you seeing with that group?
I thought that happened on a couple possessions defensively, the communication piece, but yeah, we've got to find a rhythm there, Joe. I mean, I think a guy like Torrey's been around a lot, so I think, he's probably got to find his rhythm. I think for Julian and even Terry to a certain standpoint, because they ended up playing pretty big at the 3. Yeah, they played pretty big at the 3, 4, and the 5, and we were just small, and we got, I thought, hurt on the glass and hurt inside, so we went with Terry just to be a little bit bigger. But yeah, we're gonna have to find some kind of chemistry and cohesiveness there, with the second unit as Torrey starts to come back, and it's hard for him, right, because he's on a minute restriction, and really what they wanted tonight from us was medically was no try to keep it within 4 minutes, and no more than 20 and it's hard, you're yanking guys in and out sometimes, but you're also trying to get his feet wet again, and then you're trying to, get him a rhythm, and then certainly trying to rest some of other guys.
Well, you mentioned turnovers a little bit here over the last couple of weeks. Do you have any sort of reason why you think that's become? I mean, you're still top half of the league and taking care of the ball, but we're top 5, I think, prior to. For the first couple of months, why do you think that's kind of fallen off a little bit?
I thought a few times in the first half it was our spacing. Our spacing wasn't good enough. I thought it was much better in the second half. I thought the guys adjusted pretty well to that. Some of it was just carelessness, to be honest with you. Just like we had one where I think maybe Iowa was trying to get down in transition. He dribbled off the guy's shoe accidentally, and they got the ball back. There was a couple, errant passes that we had one pass went through our hands out of bounds. It was just a lot of carelessness that I think we just got to we got to concentrate more in those situations. And listen, some of it was they did a good job defensively. They were active with their hands. I thought Fox had a couple times generated some steals with his activity, but there was quite a few that I thought were self-inflicted, where we could have been better.
There seems no real discernible pattern to the way you got. Recently, there was a lot of these. So we played really well in the first half, but the second half we sort of let down. Third quarter was a long period of problems. Obviously, flipped that tonight. Mm-hmm. Is there anything that you see in these different versions of the team?
We just got to be more consistent. I say this because I don't think that we're any different from any other team in this league. We don't have a lot of room for margin for error. We just don't, So when you start turning the ball over 16 times, or you go through a period of time where you really, really shoot the ball poorly for a long stretch, and you can't get stops defensively, like, we really got to be really, really good and detailed and concentrate, on the things that we can control. We can control handling the basketball better. We can control getting back in transition and communicating better. There's things I think we've got to be better at in terms of the consistency part. You and I have talked about it, the make or miss league. There's going to be nights you don't shoot the ball well, and there's going to be nights you do shoot the ball well. But you got to do other things that you have control over to put yourself in position to win games. And on a night like tonight, I think there was enough things out there that we could have done better. I'm not saying that we deserved to win the game or should have won the game, but we could have certainly not been down 28 points had we done some of those other things more consistently. And I think maybe some of the inconsistency has been some of the stuff that's been self-inflicted.
Is there a hangover when a player, like Zach goes out, a team is told, okay, he's gone for the season now, they come out flat, or is it just missed shots?
Yeah, I don't think so. Because one is I know Zach's got a great relationship with those guys, and those guys care about him, as we all do, and you don't want to see somebody go through that. It's probably a better question to ask them, but my gut would be that we knew that Zach wasn't going to play tonight. You know what I mean? So it wasn't like he was going to be out there. If it had an impact on them in terms of them really feeling bad for a teammate and a guy that they've got a good relationship with, possibly. And I don't want to make it seem at all like our guys don't care, but it's not like we were going into this game where all of a sudden, we found out right before tip that he wasn't going to play. And plus, guys go in and out of the lineup all the time. There's a lot of things now. We have game time decisions. Some guys can't try to go and can't go. But they certainly, I think, probably feel really, really bad for Zach and disappointed that he can't be part of it. But I don't. They're probably a better group to ask how that impacted him.
Kobe, I didn't check the numbers, and I should have, but it seemed like in the first half he wasn't playing as much. Were you trying to save him more for the end of the game and monitors?
Yeah, I just think that he's just battling different bumps and bruises and aches and pains, and we've talked about it, he's absorbed a lot of minutes, and I'm trying to find ways to rest him to keep him from certain points in time in the game. And the other thing too is, like, when you all of a sudden team starts going on a run, you're more inclined to start throwing those guys back in there, and then it just adds into the minutes. So part of the reason that I think he played right around 15 was to try to give us a little bit more of a leeway in the second half.
Yeah, there was so much going on pregame. We didn't even ask you about him landing on the injury report. Was that just?
I'm sorry?
There was so much going on pregame. We didn't
Right.
even ask you about him landing on the injury report. Was he able to practice yesterday? And was this just normal wear and tear?
He did not practice yesterday. Went through shoot around today, and there was some guys that we just, quite honestly, we rested. Like DeMar, we rested. AC took some reps. Kobe rested. Torrey was a full participant because obviously we're trying to see if he was going to be able to play. So we have done that, and I think maybe Joe asked me about that, in practice, in terms of how do you utilize that time maybe with some of these guys with heavy minutes. We just got to be conscientious of that. So I think, the bumps and bruises of kind of, what he's dealt with for the amount of minutes and how hard he plays and just body being banged up, it's just part of it there. So we're trying to, when we do get an opportunity to rest him, we try to do as much as we can.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay. Yep. Thank you.